guys, so today we are on our last video for section 5.6 day 2. We're going to do a little bit of graphing. The graphing part should be a review, and actually the very last part where we're going to find x-intercepts and y-intercepts is a review of what we did yesterday. So we're going to graph a log graph and we're going to graph an exponential graph. So we're going to start with our log graph. So our number one problem is f of x equals log base 2 of x plus 5. So let's review graphing a logarithm. To graph a logarithm, what we did was we set it equal to y, and we went around the circle. So this would be 2 to the y equals x plus 5. Once we had that, what we had to do is we had to subtract the 5 over because we had to have the x by itself. So if I subtract the 5 over, I would get x equals 2 to the y minus 5. X had to be alone. And that's because when I made my t-chart for it, so that we could graph it, we had to plug our numbers in for the y. So we did the -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and we plugged them in for the y value instead of for the x value. So you need your calculator. This is the easy part. You just have to take and plug things into this equation. Very simple. So I went ahead and did that for you, just to kind of expedite the process, because I know you can use your calculator. I know all that part's simple for you. So the numbers that we should get are -4.75, -4.5, -4, and -3, and -1. So we'll come over here and we'll draw ourselves a little graph. We still need a little more space on the board to do the next part. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way it's looking pretty good in all the directions. So -4.75, which would be almost to -5, down 2. Then we're at -4.5, halfway, down 1. -4 is at 0. -3 is at +1. And -1's at +2. Now there's our log graph. There's the curve that we would get for our logarithm graph. So you'll have a multiple choice graph to pick. Now this last part that you're going to do is you're going to be asked to find the y-intercept. Y-intercept is where the x value is 0. So you're going to take that equation that I starred and you are going to put 0 in for x. So we're going to say that 0 equals 2 to the y minus 5. We solved equations like this yesterday. It may not have started with that setup, but it's the same thing. I'm going to move the 5 back to the other side. So we're going to have 5 equals 2 to the y. What we'll do is we'll put that log on both sides, like what we did yesterday for the first problems. So if I put log on both sides, we'll log 5, and we'll log 2 to the y. That y can fall down to the front, so we would have log 5 equals y log 2. And since that y is times the log 2, all I'd have to do is divide by the log 2 to the other side. So if I divide by log 2 on both sides, I just have to type this into my calculator. And you should know from yesterday where your log button is. Just type in log 5 divided by log 2. WebAssign will ask for forward decimal places, and it works out really nicely, and you should get 2.3219 for that answer. So you'll have to graph it and then find, in this case, the y-intercept. Okay, so one more problem to go. Not going to do a whole bunch of problems today, just 2. We're going to do an exponential graph to review that. And with that, we're going to find the x-intercept. So our problem number 2 is f of x equals 3 to the x minus 4. We don't have to change exponential graphs. We don't have to set it equal to y and move stuff or anything like that. We leave it the way that it is. So we're just going to make a t-chart. and we plug the -2, -1, 0, 1, 2 in for x and plug them into the equation. So we would do 3 to the -2 minus 4, 3 to the -1 minus 4, so forth and so on. So once again, I went ahead and expedited the process for you so that way we don't have to spend a lot of time doing this. So this is -3.9, I rounded it. This is -3.7, -3, -1, and 5. So once again, let's just make ourselves a graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So -2 is at -3.9, which is down almost to 4. -1 is at -3.7, which is really close to the other dot that we just did. 0 is at -3. 1's at -1, and 2 is way up here at 5. That is our exponential graph. Not hard to graph either, pretty easy. But now we're going to be asked to find the x-intercept instead of the y-intercept. The x-intercept is where y is 0 instead of x. Well, f of x and y are the same thing. So since this is the same thing as y, I'm going to put 0 in over there. So I'm going to have 0 equals 3 to the x minus 4. That should look like the problem that we did on the first problem. I'm going to move the 4 over. So I'm going to add the 4 over to here. It'll be equal to 3 to the x. Can I put log on both sides? Why, yes, I can. I can put log on both sides. So I'd have log of 4 equals log of 3 to the x. That x would fall down. So I'd have log of 4 equals x log 3. And then x is times the log 3. So you could divide by the log 3. So if I divide both sides by log 3, that'll cancel, and you will get x equals whatever log 4 divided by log 3 is, which you could type into your calculator very easily. I got 1.2619. Because like I said, WebAssign will ask you for 4 decimal places. So I only gave you 4 problems today. So it's a really, really short lesson. You will have multiple choice for the graphs. And then the very at the very bottom, it'll say to either do x-intercept or y-intercept. It's y-intercept for the log graphs. It's x-intercept for the exponential graphs. So it's our last video, guys. So I won't be like in front of the camera anymore for you. Next week will be your test. So look for a review. And then if you have any questions, please email me and I will help you with any questions that you have over the review. Bye.